Today we're going to be talking about the upbringing of someone who was raised in the 1980s and 90s versus someone who was raised in the 2000s and 2010s, and the differences and the similarities of upbringings. So,
So yeah, basically we're gonna be talking about these kids, and we're gonna get into a little educational stuff too. I want to talk how the school's education of these kids is a disaster. Not all, but a lot of them. So let me just kick it off with what we were talking about earlier. And schools, I have no idea. I know several kids now in middle school, and I'm talking about the middle school range. But in middle school, let's say in sixth, seventh, eighth grade, of course, and some of these kids have all A's. And my problem is, how do you have all A's, but you fail all of your standardized tests? And this happens, and I am shocked at the school. Um, like this is not good. You're giving kids these grades, and then they're gonna wonder why they can't go any further when they get to high school and this transition. So let me tell you how they do now. As far as in middle school, the vast majority of your grade, probably 80% of your grade, is established by if you did your homework and class participation. Only 10 or 20% is from standardized tests, the tests that you take in class. So you can fail all your tests and do your homework and participate and get like an A in the class, A or B in the class. That's not how it works in life. That's not how it's gonna work in high school. That ain't how it works in college. And I just think that this is not a good. This is horrible to be setting kids up for failure. So, what do you think about the subject as far as education and anything that you want to touch on as far as that subject?
I mean, I think you should probably, ease your way into it. At some point, you need to be gradually making things harder for someone, and to the point where they're an adult, basically taking, pre-tests, is what middle school and high school should be to life. Which, if you're, in eighth grade, you can't make it too hard on a 14-year-old individual. So you saying that they shouldn't be able to pass the class if they, only pass a standardized, if they can't pass a standardized test, but they're doing good on homework. And I agree that if you can't pass a standardized test, most of the time that resembles that you don't really understand the material.
That's exactly what it says.
You're just showing up to class and you're doing it. You're doing that. You show someone who's responsible and does their homework, not someone that understands algebra or integrated one science, biology or whatever. So you should definitely be to have some type of understanding, but maybe it shouldn't be to the point where it's college level where 80% of the class is homework, and 80% of the class is tests and 20% of the class is homework. So at some point you have to gradually move that up, and maybe it should be a 50-50 split, maybe 60-40. But yeah, I do agree that it shouldn't be the way it is now.
Yeah, I would argue it maybe even should be 80-20 like college is, because again, if you can't pass the test, if you're failing all your tests in English, all your tests, you're getting F's on all your tests. And I mean F's of not just 50, 60, which is another thing they've changed. And A now is 90 to 100. Well, Lord, I won't even get on that. But just trying to stay focused. Yeah, if you're not able to pass your test, you shouldn't pass the class. If you, and especially, like I say, if you're getting 20s or 35% on your test, not just the F that was a little under, like a 55, 60, like you barely, but no, like if you got that and then fail some stuff. But yeah, in general, if you're failing all your tests and you can't pass any test in the class, yeah, it should be very difficult to pass the course. You should not just be able to pass a course because you showed up, participated, did the homework.
Yeah.
That's not right. And that's going to be very bad when you get to testing like for SAT, because SAT ain't paying that. If you don't know that stuff on SAT, you can forget about it. And because you just came out of high school a lot more recently than me, these getting into these colleges ain't no joke no more. Like, it ain't no joke. It's a SAT score. They want, what is it to get into UF now? Wants, you tell me?
Or 1400.
And what type of GPA to get into UF?
4.45 plus
minimum, unless you sports, football, something like that. So yeah, and the other stuff we want to talk about is how how growing up differently, and these kids, how they grow up, how they grow up today as opposed to how we grew up. For one, we were just talking about it. We was in the car on the way here, and we were talking about how parents don't let their kids walk to like even the bus stop anymore. I'm talking about a bus stop that's literally less than a quarter mile away, literally like at the end of the street, literally less than a mile away max. And the parents don't even let their kids walk to the bus stop anymore. That is not how we get. Definitely, you would walk to the bus stop, and it's just not just that. It's they don't. The parents today, and I blame nobody but the parents, but a lot of parents, they don't give their kids any responsibility and stuff. And when you don't have responsibility, like people ask me all the time, well, how did you? Yes, like, it was some other things involved a while, but a lot of it's because I have responsibilities of like, and it wouldn't. You didn't tell them 50 times over time. If your parent in my age told you, "Hey, clean your room or keep your room clean," you kept it clean. Like you didn't. They didn't come back every day and tell you, "Hey, clean the room." No, it was one time, maybe two, and then it was not cuss on here. It was a behind whooping, and you got it right, and you remember it next times. So it wasn't a bunch of this just talking and same thing over and over. I see parents now tell their kids the same thing: clean your room, clean your room, clean your room, clean. Like I'm not doing that. So maybe it's good that I'm not at a parenting stage of my life. I'm not doing that. I'm telling you once or twice to clean your room, and then we're gonna have a problem. Let me let you talk some because I took a bunch of the time.
It's like it's more like it resembles, and I don't know the exact name of it. It's if you ever seen the movie Saw, I'm gonna call it the John Kramer theory, where in the movie Saw, if you ever seen it, bad people, if they do bad things, basically he takes them and he punishes them in the most severe of ways, and that'll help them understand you ain't gonna do this anymore. So basically, it will resemble something that you did in your life that was really bad, and in order for you to prove that you're sorry for doing it, you got to cut your hand off. That's severe.
Mm-hmm.
So they've stopped doing that. What a behind whooping would be considered something that's severe, and by the John Kramer theory, I mean is that works, but in hindsight, it's damaging to people. So maybe we need to go back to that because obviously receiving a behind whooping is a little bit severe. People have talked about you don't need to be doing that to kids. It leads to other bad things, but it solves the problem and gets the main point through. So nowadays, if you don't do anything, the repercussions are go sit in timeout for 10 minutes, and it seems to me that's not really doing anything. Maybe we need to have something a little more severe and enforce, some real punishments or something, because yeah, it's definitely different for the cage, and it's different, growing up from how I was versus today's new kids. So maybe we need to do something that's a little more severe or something of that nature, because what's going on now ain't working.
All right, four things. So let me quickly, because before I forget, four things that while you was talking that I heard that I want to touch upon. First thing, do you feel that a butt whooping or a whooping, and I'm not talking about I'm talking about taking a belt, whooping your kids' butt, however many times, 5 or 6 times. You said, do you believe that to be severe in your opinion?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think that's severe. I'm glad that you didn't see some of the stuff that some of your cousins. Let's just say, yeah, that wasn't severe at all. I've seen people get beat with a extension cord, literally. I would say that's severe, but a regular butt whooping with a belt, I don't think that's severe at all. And I think there needs to be a lot more. Now, there are some children who do not need it. I needed butt whoopings because I did whatever the heck I wanted for the most part. Now, when my parents told me to do something, I did it. But I would if I might go to school and get in trouble. So I needed some butt whoopings. I was hard-headed. I did. I've had my sister never, I think she might have got one in her life. She didn't need them. So some kids don't need them. And I'm a proper parent, a parent who knows what they're doing. You know if your kid needs them or not. Again, I had a sister who never really needed them. I think she got one in her whole life. I need them all the time. So these are not to say some children don't need them. If I tell you to clean up your room once and twice and you clean it up, fine. But if I have to tell you every day to clean up your room, you need a butt whooping. And I don't think that's severe at all. That was my first thing. Two, the kids, you didn't see things like Julio Fulio, this rapper out of Jacksonville, came to Tampa, got killed over here in Tampa, the guns and all that. And these kids bad now. Like, the grown-ups are afraid of the kids. These little 15, 16, 17, 18 or so carry their gun around and and do whatever. They shooting people, and the grown-ups is half scared of them, and rightfully so, because in my day that didn't happen, and you didn't have Julio having shootouts down. Because in my day, any mama on the street could have grabbed you up and whoop you if you were that crazy. Now the parents, oh, don't touch my child, or this, or you better not. And they want the parents fighting each other. No, because of these little bad things running around. But when I was growing up, anybody, you didn't cuss in front of somebody else's mama when I was growing up. Like, they would have pulled you aside and whooped you. Then you got another whooping when you got home. And that's why you didn't do that. And the kids had some respect for parents, because this was instilled in them.